Hi, welcome to the NHL segment of our show. Winding down the season here, a couple of close games to start things off in Chicago. It's tough for Philly to go into a game and lose 6-5. You come out of that, they came back strong. We saw no scoring in the first period. Chicago lit them up in the second for two quick goals, but then we saw Philadelphia get back into it. Tonight, line for Game 3, we've got Philadelphia listed as a small favorite, and I don't think the bookmaker has much choice there. It's because of home ice. It's because of what the point they're at in the series. They're home. They're down 2-0. This is, and I don't like throwing this term around because it's not. It's one of those overused terms.
Must-win.
It's a must-win situation. Now, coming into the series, Philadelphia was 13-2 versus the Blackhawks in their past 15 meetings, but these teams don't play each other very often, and that doesn't matter anymore because the 2-0 record that's up right now is the only thing that counts. And I think if you're a Philadelphia Flyers player looking up at 2-0, it's starting to look like a pretty big hill right now, Greg.
Yeah, yes and no, Jarvis. I mean, they went into the opponent's rink, and it's not like they got blown out 5-1 and 6-3 or whatever. So they're in the game, and there is line value. If you look at the power rating, and it's based a lot on goalies, you know, just as it is in pitchers in hockey, or pitchers in baseball, rather. It's based on the goaltending in the playoffs. And I like I said yesterday, I make this line about $1.40, $1.45. So there is some line value in this game. Here's something, if you're a Flyers fan, I don't want to have any fly in your ointment, but in the Stanley Cup Finals, if a team wins Game 1 and Game 2 when they're playing for the Cup, they've gone on to win the Stanley Cup 41 out of 45 times.
41 out of 45. Since this game is in the Wachovia Center, I looked at some of my notes, and I checked it out. This building opened in 1996. Chicago won a game in the Wachovia Center in 1996. November 9th, Garth Snow was the goaltender. And that is the only win the Chicago Blackhawks have ever registered in this building. It's their last win. Since then, we've got 8 straight home wins for Philadelphia in that span, and 5 of those games were by a margin of 2+ goals. I don't think you're going to see anyone really stepping up with the courage to lay a goal and a half on a small favorite tonight. But
no, I wouldn't. Then you're praying for them to be up, the Flyers to be up by 1 goal, and have an empty netter to cash a ticket.
We've got some over/under trends for you. I've started things off with Philadelphia. There's 16 overs, 5 unders when revenging a close loss by 1 goal or less. Now, maybe one of those unders came out in the last game because they lost by 1 goal there.
And that's in the last 2 seasons.
In the last 2 seasons. You've got some numbers as well.
I've got a number 2, Chicago. They are 22-8 to the over if they're off of a home win the last 2 seasons. So there's an angle there on the Blackhawks. 22-8 to the over off a home win the last 2 years, Jarvis.
We also saw a 2-1 game in the last game, and when Philadelphia has played a game with 3 or fewer total goals scored, guys, 13 overs, 4 unders in the last 2 seasons. That is a strong trend because you're seeing how they respond to a low-scoring game. Goaltending, again, with these two teams. Philadelphia's changed goalies. I had a really bad metaphor to use there. I won't go with the jokes. Anyway, I think this game's going over, Greg. You've got one more trend on the over?
Yeah, and this didn't cash the last time, and you'll see why in a second. But the Blackhawks have actually been good to the over, Jarvis. They are 16 overs, 7 unders after a close win by 1 goal in their previous game. That's going back the last 2 seasons. Obviously, they didn't get that done in Game 2, but they're off of a 1-goal win in Game 2, so the tendency would be, according to the trend, which is 16-7 to the over, is to play Game 3 over.
We saw Chicago with some over-under trends starting to heat up in the playoffs against the San Jose Sharks. The Hawks played 2 overs, 2 unders, and both of those overs came late in the game, one of them in the final minute to an empty net goal. So maybe you look at defense. Their defense has been strong, but if you look at offense from Philadelphia and Chicago, we know what we could have. We're not even getting any contributions yet from the top line with Chicago. You look at the defense as well. Philadelphia is relying on their defense, but Chicago relies on theirs too. That's why Antti Niemi has been able to be a strong goaltender throughout the entire season. That's why he'll continue to be. So looking at this game, I think the most likely components that could break down would be you only need one of the 2 goaltenders to break down. I think the offense on both of these teams, they've proved it in Game 1, they've proven it all season, is strong enough to make the under disappear if one of the goalies is having a bad game. Obviously, pressure's on Philadelphia. They're going to try and bring it all tonight. That place is going to be rowdy. It's going to be a physical game. We've already seen unfamiliarity. These teams don't play each other often. I think you can wipe that all out. With all the game film they've done, these teams have gotten each other's faces. I think the offense is going to be on tonight. I'm not predicting this on a game on a bad goaltender, but I think you're going to see some scoring tonight. I have an official play on the Hawks and Flyers going over 5.5 goals in Game 3 of the playoffs.
I agree.
You're on that too? I think I lean towards Philadelphia maybe getting back in this, but when Chicago went up 2-0 in San Jose and Game 3 came home, I leaned towards San Jose maybe getting in it, but until I see some proof, I wasn't going to lay any money on it. I also don't tend to bet side and total in the same contest. I know you're looking for action, Stanley Cup Finals, maybe look at the prop sheet, but my official play is on the over, guys. That's hockey. Check BetRepublic.com. We've got a really good stadium thread going up on this game. For Greg Dempson, Jarvis Symes, everyone else at The Daily Line, we'll see you next time. Good luck with all your bets tonight.